Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Frostpunk 2. I am on episode 3 and I'm currently working on an expedition to the desolate coast. Over the years there were sightings of nomadic people roaming this area. Even if true, it's unlikely they would have survived so long on their own without a source of fuel. We might find oil. It's going to take us 17 weeks in order to venture out this far. In the meanwhile, I have done some work on New London. We've gained a couple more people because I was able to find a few more people. And unfortunately, all resources are still looking bad, except food. We're actually gaining a little bit of food. We have a slight surplus. Everything else is going to shit. We don't have enough housing. We don't have enough materials by far. And this is improving, or rather deproving, / decreasing the amount of squalor. This means that everything is starting to break down. I am, however, in an effort to fix up the amount of materials that I need. So over here, I'm trying to get another big materials deposit mined up. And that should get, well, at least a decent amount of materials, but I don't think it's going to allow me to get 200. As for housing, I have been expanding these neighborhoods quite a bit. And another one of these neighborhoods has gained a research institute. So time to do some more tech treeing. Time to do some more research. I have researched the waste heat conversion, which means that we now have, this one. Heat demand in housing districts is decreased. Good. Heating, however, is still a big issue. What I can also do to suppress the amount of heating that housing needs is get these houses lined with asbestos lining. And it doesn't matter which faction you go with, they all have the same idea. So it's going to reduce the heat demand for a little bit, and I really do appreciate that, because heat is definitely an issue. And considering the amount of coal that we have left in 197 weeks, so it's about 4 years, we're going to have massive issues. It's probably going to be a little sooner than that, though, because we have enough for 197 weeks here in this deposit, and there's a little bit, I think, here? No, this is it. This is the last of the coal on this map. So that is all that we have. My tension is pretty severe. It's very, very bad by all the cold. And the other factions are not exactly having a great time. So especially the Pilgrims hate me. It's a new faction. It's an offshoot of the Frostlanders. The Frostlanders are skeptical. These guys are neutral. These guys are neutral. But the Frostlanders, I need to improve the relationship with them. So let's make a promise of some sort. I can promise to pass heat recycling. I should be able to do that. So let's go over to the council. Unfortunately, the council is not available right now, so we'll have to get a little bit of time spent. You can see that trust is falling. I'm tolerated, but it's not doing well. And it all has to do with this bloody cold. Okay, let's go for heat recycling. Waste heat conversion, heat recycling. We will redirect excess heat from industrial machines to neighboring districts and infrastructure, increasing the heat available to the city. Yes, please. Heat demand in housing is decreased. Do it. The law is supported. Please vote and make sure that we pass this, because we are not exactly in a good position regarding the amount of heat. And hopefully, by just having people be warm, they will stop being so pissed off. And you can see the trust is getting a little better. This should also mean that the reputation or the relationship with the Frostlanders is going to improve. But to favorable, that might be a bit of a jump. I can promise the research weather-adjusted shifts, which is going to do what exactly? Heat demand in districts other than housing is decreased. Yes, I do like that. I can repeal city development efforts. No. Or I can promise expedition support. I don't think I can do that, so I can do this one. I can start a quest to research it. So long as I have the necessary amount of heat stamps, I should be able to do that. So let's continue with that. Research is progressing quite nicely, but oh crap. Tension is severe. Program war. Steward, people are increasingly arguing over the curriculum taught in schools. Yes, they always will. Some think we should reduce theoretical knowledge and provide more survival training. We're filling these kids' heads with numbers and useless junk, complained one angry trapper. We ought to take them out on field trips to hunt. Others argue for the exact opposite. No, we need to teach children how to think and come up with new solutions instead of perpetuating outdated practices. I'm with the engineer on this one. We're going to concentrate on the science. It's going to slightly improve the relationship with the New Londoners and the Stalwarts, and it's going to increase research speed even more. All the better. I like it. As for heat, we're now minus 163, and the heat is stable. It's severe, but it's stable. If I'm able to increase my housing a little bit, maybe I can fix the situation. And, well, I don't think I can get 67 housing out of that, but it should at least allow me a little bit of a breathing room there. As for materials, even with this new district, we don't have enough. And I can expand the district. I can even put a building onto it, if I had one. Which I don't. I don't have any buildings that are currently favoring this. I mean, I can put a blasting coal mine on a coal mine, but not on a materials district. So, let's say if researching something like that is going to help. But first, weather-adjusted shifts. That's under resources, worker shifts, and I can go with weather-adjusted shifts or machine-centric shifts. This is what I have right now, but I don't have the law. I didn't actually pass the law, so I'm going to go with this, and we're going to research that idea. They won't all like it, but I first need to get the reputation with the Frostlanders up. I do believe the Frostlanders are, they're 48%. They're the biggest faction I have right now. These guys are really pissed off, but they're not as pissed off as they once were. So, it's not great, but I've had worse. There are complaints about quarantine policy. Forced separation from loved ones is difficult for all when they have to go into quarantine, especially hard for parents whose children are quarantined alone. This has to do with a law that I passed, and I said people who are sick are going to get quarantined to prevent everybody from getting sick. One such mother comes to the quarantine facility every day, asking to be allowed in to take care of her son. He's deathly afraid of being alone. He can't cope without me. Should we allow healthy parents into the facility with their sick children? That's kind of the point about quarantine, not having healthy people in, to prevent them from becoming a carrier and spreading the disease even more. But if I ban parents, it's going to upset the relationship with the factions, notably the Pilgrims. Thankfully, they're a small faction. So, hopefully I can kind of suppress them. The Pilgrims are going to hate this. I can deploy guides. Yeah, right. Not right now, though. I can also, to get more trust, fund their projects, which is going to cost me 44 heat stamps, which I have. I think I can do that. This is going to at least make them a little bit less angry with me. But not by a lot. And I think it might have just grown their faction as well. Okay, how are we doing with that expedition? We're getting there. But we're still not there, unfortunately. Over here, we are getting a little bit of food. There is still a bunch of food remaining. And this is sending resources to New London. So that is helping with our food output, but that's why we have an artificially inflated amount of food. That will not last, unfortunately. As for my workforce, 362. I need to find more people somewhere. The longing for a little heart. Stuart, the young boy whose mother knocks on the gates of the quarantine camp, is faring very badly. Our doctors cannot fully explain why he does not respond to medications like other patients. They fear the child may never fully recover. You rejected the plea of the healthy parent to accompany their sick children into quarantine. Yes, I did. And I will live with the consequences. As a parent myself, it would break my heart if I couldn't be with my kid if they were ill. But I am not a parent in this role. I am the steward. I am the captain of this city. I'm supposed to not imagine, or not to just keep the interests of one person in mind. I'm supposed to save everybody. And of course that's going to come with all sorts of issues. Need to fix up this logistics district. This is what happens when you don't have enough materials. Things are going to start to break down. Oh crap, this thing is almost empty. Well, thankfully we have a decent amount of refabs, but it's going to run out in 3 weeks. We have more prefabs on the map, I believe. Here. Oh, sorry, that's an iron vein. It's going to give me materials. Could be interesting. I can also start tapping into the fertile soil here for additional food, but I don't really need to at the moment. But over here, we still have a little bit more. A frozen forest with a deep deposit. 100 million is awaiting us there. So there's a lot there. Oh, we have a new law that they want to propose? Yes. That's the one I just researched. Oh, great. 38 are against. We have 52-4. We have 10 hesitants. The law is supported. Production efficiency is slightly decreased, but again, disease is slightly decreased and the heat demand in districts other than housing is decreased. We're going to vote it. I think we'll be able to pass it, and with that, hopefully improve the reputation with the Frostlanders a bit. And fix our heat situation. Wow, we even got a heat surplus now. Look at that. That means the heat is the cold is diminishing. Excellent. As for getting it to favorable or better, they're neutral right now. What else can we do? We can make a promise, or we can grant them an agenda. I'll let them just pass, or let them select the law. And hopefully that's going to give them a little bit of a better spirit. Okay, how are we doing with the expedition? What have we found? The old dreadnought. This is the one from episode 1. We found oil. This place might finally provide the fuel that we've been hoping for. We will be able to build a new colony on this site. Let's do that. There it is. Again. Or still, I should say. And now we're running into the issue that in episode 1, the dead people were being put into these oil tombs. Now I'm running into those bodies, and what should we do? Should we remove them? Which means more oil deposits will become available, or I can respect the dead. Nope, I'm going to remove the bodies. Sorry. This is something that people will not like, but I need my oil. And this is going to save up to, what, how many thousand people do I have? Like 12? 13,000 people. I need my oil. So, what we're going to do here is establish a colony, but as soon as we need to, or sorry, we first need to connect a path. So let's do that. You can path through here, and then through there, and then there. Path established. It's now getting built. It's going to take me 4 weeks, and then I can start a colony here. That colony is going to get me the fuel that I need. Finally. Because the colony's coal supplies are running desperately dry. What's happening here? Deteriorating infrastructure. Great. High squalor will continue to deteriorate our districts until it's brought down. Yes, I know, people, but I'm doing the best I can. The problem is I cannot keep spending 100 districts on this. Thankfully, it can be demolished because it's empty. There's nothing left in here, right? No, it's deactivated. Hold on. There's enough prefabs for 1 day. Screw that. I'm not keeping it on the map if it's enough for 1 day. That's a waste of resources. As for the council, what are we doing here? Oh, we're on recess. Good. Research-wise, I can start looking into an additional project. Let's see. Can we get some additional resources, potentially? How about sawmills? Massive sawmill in which frozen wood is cut into usable materials. That's exactly what I need. Without undergoing any treatment, speeding up the process, but exposing people to mold, spores, and fungi. It's going to give me 170 output. But I can also go for a mechanized sawmill, which is going to require 300 workforce. Squalor is slightly increased. Great. 60 heat demand. 20 heat demand only. Tricky, tricky, tricky. I'm gonna go with this one. I want more materials. Research that idea for 7 weeks. Off you go. With a mechanized sawmill now researched and attached to this district, I can now actually build this thing. And that should immediately more than fix any material that I need. I'm going to even have a surplus, which may even mean... Oh, crap. Lots of pilgrims. Which may even mean I can start to think about getting goods. That'd be nice, because that increases the amount of heat stamps. As for my little expedition, I have set up the trail. The problem is I need more Frostland teams. I don't have any. I need 20. And there are a couple of people working on this. The resources to New London. So I'm going to have to shut this down, unfortunately, in order to free up this and send some colonists. 3,000 people will settle here. And this means you now essentially have a second town. It's going to take them a little bit of time to get there, I imagine. Yeah, it's going to take them 15 weeks. That's fine. We have 15 weeks. Once they're there, you can start to manage that town as well. It becomes a little outpost attached to your own city. Look at that, 184 materials in surplus. Now we're getting somewhere. Unfortunately, as we sent out 3,000 people, this means that a lot of our districts are running on a deficit. We don't have enough people to man them. Even the high-rise housing districts, they don't have enough people. There's just not enough people living in this city, if you will. So what I can do, potentially, is just shut down a part of my housing district. This is the expanded one. We're gonna just power this one down. Or at least not fully power it down, but to some extent. Yeah, they're running on 100%, but do I really need that? Oh, sorry, this is something else, right? Yeah, it's a food district. That does need to keep running at full capacity, especially now that we're digging into our reserves again. I also need to work on the mechanical factory, which is something that I promised to do for the stewards. Let's see what that is exactly. The mechanical... Where is that even? Here, the factories. Salvaging factory. But that's not what the stewards want. This is what the New Londoners and the stalwarts want, not the stewards. They want a mechanical factory, which is going to require 100 workforce. It's going to give me 10 prefabs, 60 materials. It's going to even output some goods. The squalor is going to be increased and it requires heat demand. I will research it because that's what I promised the stalwarts. The problem is I probably won't be able to staff it. So what I'm going to need to do is gather more people. I need to expand my workforce again. The city grows. Excellent. More people are living here. That means more workforce for my city, which I desperately need. As for these food districts, I'm going to increase the amount of people working there. Because I do need food to stay operational. 90 years old, 90 summers, well, winters more like. I had a good life. Well, I've had a life, anyway. Not everyone in the cold, the old Quinteth crew can say the same. I'd always thought I'd be sharing my Liddy's grave, but now Pete's pressuring me to donate my body to the city. Apparently, them doctors are using dead folks' skin to fix up frostbite or something. Can't they leave me alone? The lack of a law regulating funerals is causing tensions to rise. Isn't that lovely? Let's convene the council. And have a look at... I think it's society. Here, funerals. How do I want to deal with the funerals? I can have harvesting funerals, which increases research speed and decreases disease, or I can have ceremonial funerals. Trust loss resulting from deaths is decreased. There's 54 hesitants. The amount of people against this are greater. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're in a survival situation. I'm going to harvest these corpses. If I try and vote now, I'm probably not going to get it. So we'll have to negotiate. I can negotiate with the New Londoners or with the Frostlanders. Let's go with the Frostlanders this time, because I'm still trying to improve the reputation with them. Building a hydraulic pump jack. Facility injecting high-pressure water into the ground to speed up oil extraction. Okay. But it's going to cause minor impurities to seep into the drinking water. That does not sound very safe. I can go for durable goods. But it decreases the goods capita. Okay, that's a step towards adaptation. Or the Vanguard Logistics Bay. Logistics Bay, storing and handling only essential survival gear and providing training on how to use it effectively. Sounds good. More of these teams is better. And now I have the votes, and now I can pass the law. Further harvesting funerals, and hopefully with that bring down the tension. You're always trying to balance the tension, you're trying to balance the resources. This is the key to the game. That, of course, does lead to these pop-ups. They'll cut up Father, we won't bury him. Yeah. It's exceptionally grim. But yes, that is exactly what we're doing. These pilgrims are skeptical, which is not too bad. These guys are neutral, which is definitely not exactly where I want them, but it's better than what it once was. These guys are neutral, but they're getting smaller. They're only 8% of my population now. And the New Londoners are neutral at 39. I am going to grant them an agenda, which is going to improve the reputation with them. But that's going to come at a price. I want their heat stamps. They did not like that one bit. They are now skeptical, but I got a bunch more heat stamps. So with that, maybe I can do some good for the city. Such as researching the Vanguard Logistics Bay. Balance, balance, balance. I still don't have any teams available, and we're still working on that colony. Ah, there we go. The stalwarts are delighted that I kept my word. Good. So that's one research project done. Now, into Frostland. Let's get the Logistics Bay. And they want the Vanguard Logistics Bay. The alternative one's the automated one. 15 Frostland teams. But we're going to go with this. And that's going to get researched. Just to try and appease these people a bit. The New Londoners really don't like it, but tough. Yeah, again, you can't quite appease everybody. The housing district, let's run this at full speed. How's that coal mine? It's running at 90%. Our cold is pretty bad by now. I can't wait for that oil to start flowing into the city. With the colony now established at the old Dreadnought furnace, I can go and have a sort of mini outpost thing here. And I can start getting my oil. I do have 3,000 people living here, so the main priority for this particular area is get oil. That really is their only purpose of being here. Thankfully, they have a food surplus. That is thanks to the old Dreadnought furnace. I'm not sure how a furnace outputs food, but okay, if it does that, I'm all for it. So we're going to frost break here. And we're going to get the oil into New London. The Frostlanders' demands have been met. Very good. 116 people are freezing to death. Not so good. I need to get this thing built. And I need to get the oil going to New London. Otherwise, we're going to be pretty screwed. As for the amount of teams, we have 20 teams available. There is supposedly a mangled cart here, which has 3 cores. Let's go salvage that. And with the rest of the teams, maybe we can explore another bit of the territory, because more exploring generally means we can get at more resources. Anything here? There's an abandoned coal mine. I can take prefabs, or I can use the mine. I'm going to take the prefabs, thank you very much. The mining complex is going to give me coal until it's getting depleted. I don't really care for the coal because I don't need the coal at the moment. Seeing as we're going to have oil passing into the city any minute now. Yeah, I don't have enough teams for this. What's this then? An oil cistern. I can send regular workers or mountaineers, but we don't know how to use it. So unfortunately not much is happening there. Okay, let's build the extraction deposits, or the extraction district here. That's one. Frost break this stuff. There. And, yeah, there's even more down there. More oil, more better. Continue. Of course, the oil is not just going to get exported, because this whole colony is not having a great time. And this means we'll have to make sure these guys get warm first, before we can send all of the oil back to New London. There we go. Now they got a surplus of 24 oil. Once this extra district is coming online, we should be able to get more. And I can even expand this one, which is going to also, because it's near to a generator, save some heat. Let's get the housing district here. Ideally close to the generator. And we're going to have to go back to New London because there's a vote. And I might need to intervene. Oh, they're in recess. I think they already passed the vote. Yep. Okay. Very good. Continue on. Get the oil. Get it flowing. Get it to New London. Now that we have a little bit of surplus, I can start getting some of it. But I think we really need this one, which is going to give me another 60 oil. And then we'll have the surplus that we need. There we go. The frost breaking is done. That means I can now build a housing district. Ideally, relatively close to the rest of the heat. There. We are bleeding on materials, so if I can get materials, great, but it's not strictly what this department is for. And done. Okay, we now have a plus of 75. How about that? That's exactly what I need. So now we can start shipping resources to New London. Their excess is going to go right to New London. Only their excess, however. So we need 75. 75. There. Transfer resources. Now, we need to decide how to turn the generator into something that can actually guzzle up this black gold. And that is where the next chapter, I believe, is going to start. Chapter 2 is going to revolve very much around how we're going to use this oil. And that's something that I'm going to do in the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what your thoughts are so far, and I'll see you soon for the next one.